All right, welcome everyone. I am Theron Boudreau, and we're here on a video call to talk about the upcoming permaculture teacher training with Permaculture Denton in May. And we're going to cover some of the questions that I have gotten from some of the participants and potential participants. And I'm also on a call with several of you all. So if you have any questions or any thoughts come up, feel free to interject. Some of us might be on a little bit of a delay timing, so go ahead and just say, hey, I have a question or something like that to get my attention, and it may take me a few seconds to actually hear that come through. So don't feel like you're interrupting or anything like that. It's perfectly fine. We'll make adjustments as needed. So we'll go ahead and just get started with the questions that I have already had posed. Again, if you guys have any thoughts or questions as they come up, just let me know. All right, so the first question I had was concerning a curriculum outline and syllabus. And I do have those, which I will share with you all, both probably here in this video, and I'll share in the comments of the video section, and we'll share them around on Facebook and whatnot. Basically, it's a Google Doc with the outline of the schedule. But I wanted to mention with that the way that I tend to do these courses specifically is that they're very dynamic. And although I do have a written schedule to provide everybody, and it does have some standards that will be fairly well kept and adhered to, the daily flow and various things may change on the fly. So it may change rather quickly. Hey Matt, you just joined. Could I ask you to mute your mic? Because it's got a high-pitched sound coming through. If that's all right. Hey, Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm here.
Can you go ahead and mute your mic? It's just, there's a lot of interference on the audio.
Okay.
It's probably a good idea for everybody to mute their mics when they're not speaking and only unmute when you want to speak.
Yeah, agreed. Oops.
All right. Okay. Can y'all tell me how to do that? I don't even know how.
There should be.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I see it.
Okay, got it. Good.
Great. Thank you, Matt. All right. So, in regards to the schedule, I may end up shifting things around. So the schedule that you get in writing, don't expect that to be carved in stone in any way, because I do a lot of dynamic adaptation throughout the course, just based off of feedback that I get in various ways that I open up space for during the course. You know, if somebody mentions something, we may use that as an opportunity to go into more depth on certain subjects. But I try to make sure, of course, that those things are all beneficial to the whole group and not just the a individual rabbit hole that somebody might want to take us all down. So we'll go over all those kinds of things during the course, but like I said, just be aware that the schedule is subject to change to an extent. But the daily schedule, the way the flow of the day works, will mostly stay pretty static. So there's a start time, there's some review time, each session is an hour and a half, separated by 30-minute breaks and a lunch. So all that will stay relatively constant. All right. Any questions on that subject at all? All right. Everybody good on that? The next question I had was, what can you all expect from this course? And what I think is important to understand about the teacher training, and I mentioned this earlier, is that this teacher training isn't about teaching you permaculture. So we're coming into this with the understanding that everybody already has a foundation to some extent in permaculture design. And this training is about teaching you how to teach with the focus of permaculture, or through the lens of permaculture, as a design system. And so a lot of the ways that we're going to learn how to teach are actually going to be based around permaculture principles, the permaculture design methodologies, and things like that. So we kind of will be reviewing some of the permaculture material, but mostly insofar as it guides us in our process of designing curriculum and presenting information. As I'm sure you guys all know, permaculture is such a broad subject, and it touches on so many different things that it really is easy to tie into how we go about all these other pieces. So there's a lot of good ways to tie this all together. But for the most part, this course is all about teaching you the philosophy and pedagogy of how to teach, how to present material, how to improve your public speaking abilities. And so there'll be a lot of practical, hands-on, workshop-style activities that you'll all engage in, and games and things like that we'll engage in throughout the course, that will help you to get more comfortable and get more relaxed with public presentation, as well as give you the tools and the knowledge and understanding of how to present material and how to design and develop curriculums, whether it's a full PDC or it's just a 30-minute workshop. So we'll cover a whole range of how to put these kinds of things together. Does that answer that question? Are there any other thoughts or questions on that subject as far as what to expect from the course? All right.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
And I mean, you said that some contextual, permaculture related information is inevitably going to be included.
Mm-hmm.
But is there specific content in this course about what to teach? For example, what you just said about whether it's an all-day class or a 30-minute course, are you going to provide specific guidance on which topics to include in that 30-minute course versus having hours and hours to cover a much wider array of topics?
Good question. Yeah,
that's basically my question.
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, the way that will work is we're going to give you the opportunity to actually design and write curriculum and present a subject matter on permaculture. So the last part of the course is you're presenting to the public almost in a like you said, a 30-minute kind of presentation window. So those things will be kind of threaded throughout. And yes, I'll give you some bit of info on what to teach. As far as the smaller classes and workshops go, the what to teach question is really answered by teach what you know. So whatever subjects you feel most comfortable with are the subjects you want to start with in teaching other people. And as you gain more comfort with more subjects, you can begin to expand those subjects and what it is that you teach. We also will go over what are the standards and the requisites for a full certified permaculture design course. So making sure that if your intention is to teach a full 72-hour certified design course, that you're covering all the required material to make that hold up to the standard that that's out there. Does that answer your question?
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on that, or any other need for more specificity or anything? All right. I'll just keep going on. The next question I have, and I really like this question, what are the ways and means that we are going to build people's confidence and give them more comfort in presenting this kind of information? And I really like the focus on the ways and means that we're going to do this. And I think I've covered a little bit of that already. But to answer that more specifically, some of the stuff that we're going to go into is we're going to look at tools and techniques that can help you in prepping yourself to stand up in front of a group of people you don't know. We're going to be looking at designing productive classroom environments and interactive curricula. So set and setting make such a huge impact on not only how the flow of the classroom and the class itself happens, but also on your comfort level and how you adapt to that situation. So we'll play with all of those different dynamics and really give you a lot of opportunity to stand up in front of the class and give presentations in these kind of different arrangements and these different comfort levels. And one of the big things that I try to do with this course is really push your comfort level and push your boundaries so that you step outside of that comfort zone as much as possible through this course, because the more you do it within the safe container of the course that we create, the more comfort you're going to have when you step outside of that safe container. So if I can really push your boundaries inside of that, then it'll be easier for you when you transition out into teaching to the general public. I see we've got Elizabeth just joined. Elizabeth, if you would please, thanks for joining us. If you would, go ahead and just mute your mic, and that way we don't get any audio feedback during the talk here. And then if you have any questions or anything comes up during anything that I say or just in general, you can go ahead and just unmute your mic and let me know. And usually I can see when the mute icon has been released, so I can go ahead and give you the attention. Sound good?
I'm so sorry. I have no idea. I'm trying.
That's okay. There should be a little mic icon. Looks almost like a corn cob or something. I don't know how to describe it. And if it's on your phone, I don't really know. I'm not used to the phone system, so. Okay, you found it. Great, thank you. All right, so I'm just going to keep on going. So the ways and means that we're building that confidence. So again, we're going through a bunch of interactive processes that put you in front of the classroom. We're also changing the dynamics of the classroom, and we're making it so that it feels like these are real presentations that you're giving. And by the end of the class, you actually will be giving a real presentation to people in general. So be prepared to do that as well. You'll be basically giving an introduction to permaculture at the end of the class. Nathan, thanks for joining. Can I get you to mute your mic when you have a chance? And then when you have any questions or anything comes up, go ahead and just unmute and throw your questions at me, and I'll do my best to answer. Oh boy, we've got a full room now. I'm going to ask everybody to make sure that your mic is muted so that we don't have any audible feedback. And then if you have any questions as I go through any of this information, go ahead and just unmute your mic and call those out to me. And usually I can see when somebody's unmuted their mic, so I can give them the floor. All right. Okay, so I'm just reviewing my notes here real quickly. So does anybody have any questions on the subject that I've just covered, the ways and means that we're going to build your confidence to be able to do these presentations? Okay. All right. I'll go on to the next question, which is, what is the value of this training? I'm sorry. I'm going to step back. The question I'm going to cover right now is what professional opportunities are there for somebody who's taken this training? And this is another really great question. So professional opportunities that come out as a result of this training is there's actually quite a few, and a lot of these have to do with engaging with Nicole through Permaculture Denton and the different opportunities in your local area that may be available after you take this course. And of course, myself as well, anybody who takes my teacher training, I invite to come and both shadow and take an opportunity to kind of get their feet wet a little bit with teaching during any of the PDCs that I do. And I do several PDCs throughout the year typically. So I teach through Austin Permaculture Guild, and there'll also be some opportunity for students who graduate from this course to connect and work with Austin Permaculture Guild and teach through them, as well as teaching through my business and organization, Integrated Acres, and of course working with Nicole further and teaching through Permaculture Denton. So these are all potentials and possibilities that can come out of this course. It also gives you more credibility nationally and internationally to begin teaching with teachers all over. So one of the past graduates of the course that we just recently did in Austin, one of the students after that almost straight away went from that course to teaching a course in India. So he had been hired prior, but he took the course kind of as his way of getting himself comfortable and engaged with teaching. And he went right out there, and he said it was a huge impact on his teaching style and his ability to present the information out there. So he really valued that. And more than anything, I think as far as professional opportunities, what the intention of this course is for me is to equip you all with the skills, the knowledge, and the resources to be able to begin teaching independently if that's what you seek to do. So although there are all these doors and opportunities that can be available through these existing organizations throughout Texas and the nation, there are there's no shortage of demand for permaculture education out there right now, and so there's a lot of opportunity for people who want to begin setting up their own kind of independent thing if that's what they want to do. And a big part of what this course is about as well is to give you a lot of that training and information. So there's parts of the course where we're going to cover the financial aspects of setting up workshops and permaculture design courses. We're going to talk about some of the media and the marketing elements of putting those courses out there and getting yourself established as a teacher. So all of these different kinds of things feed into each other so that even if you're going to plug into one of these other organizations in the role of, hey, I just want to, like, I don't necessarily want to be the teacher, but I want to help, and I want to help maybe market your courses or whatever the case may be. This training, the intention is that it's going to give you a lot of those resources to begin moving in those directions. Is there any questions on any of that regarding professional opportunities or any other things related to that? All right, great. I'll keep on moving. The last question I had on my list here was, what is the value in this training? And for me, aside from all of the things that we've already talked about, with all of the different values of being able to connect professionally, become a better presenter, and have more confidence in front of groups, the value is really about this very critical life skill that I think more and more people are really interested in developing. And it's essentially just feeling comfortable and feeling confident sharing what you know and sharing what you're excited about. So being able to walk into any environment, whether it's a job interview or a weekend workshop with kids, to walk into any environment and say, you know what, I got this. This is going to be fun, and I'm going to do great. And you have that confidence because you've been through these kind of scenarios before, and you have a comfort level with them. And so a lot of what this course is about is, like I said, building that comfort level, getting you outside of your comfort zone to the extent that we can within that classroom environment, and really test your boundaries and get you feeling more confident and comfortable with who you are and what you're presenting. So that is that's the value that I see coming out of this course. And that was all of the questions that I had specifically. But if there are any other questions that come up, let me know. I just noticed that I've got some message boxes here. I'm going to try to open these up. Question from Matt. What do we need to bring to the course? And is there any research we will need to do before the course? Good questions. So there isn't any research that I would say you need to do before the course. If you are interested in doing research, I can provide a few resources to look into, but mostly I would recommend having a really good foundation of permaculture design, and specifically the subjects of the various chapters of the Permaculture Designer's Manual, because um, a lot of the activities that we do, a lot of the presentations that you'll be doing, will be focused around the chapters of that designer's manual. So having some comfort level with that ahead of time will be really helpful. And as far as what to bring to the course, if you have a copy of the designer's manual that you're willing to bring, I recommend bringing that. Any other permaculture material that you might want to bring and use as reference, I think, can be helpful. But aside from that, I'm going to be bringing um, a lot of the resources and stuff that we'll be using myself. And if you um, yeah, if there's any specific stuff that you want to bring, then bring that. There may be, I don't know, check in with Nicole here. Is there anything that you would want them to bring from a host perspective? Anything regarding meal stuff or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to talk with Maureen to see. Right now, we're planning to just use the dishes that are at the lodge and not have to burden the students with bringing their own stuff. If you're coming into Denton and you're staying with somebody in Denton, talk about what you're going to need to do with them. If you're planning on staying in my backyard or something, please get a hold of me off of this call. But as for just to the regular course, I can't really think of anything. That kind of stuff, whatever you need to feel comfortable with the material you're being presented.
Great. All right, so are there any other questions or anything else that I can go into that can help to clarify what the course is about and what you guys can expect, or just anything in general? No, I answered everybody's questions.
I do have another question.
Great,
I've always got questions.
great. Throw them at me. I like questions.
In some of the notes, it mentioned that this is a 7-day course, and this may be a question for Nicole as much as anything, but there was an indication about days 8 and 9, and I was unclear
Yes.
on what's the 7 days and what's days 8 and 9. And also, are those 7 days, is that like Saturday through Saturday, or is that Monday through Friday and then another Monday, Tuesday, or how does that break out?
Great question. So the course will be May 6th, which I think is a Friday. Is that correct? Or Saturday? Anyway, it starts on May 6th and goes through May 12th. Okay, so Saturday, May 6th, and then through Friday, May 12th. And then there's an additional 2 days for people that are specifically going to be working with Nicole's permaculture design course teaching team. And some of those people are already they already know who they are. And I don't know. I'll leave it up to Nicole whether she's going to add people to that or what have you. But there's a handful of people that we know that are going to be involved with teaching next year's PDC through Permaculture Denton, and so we've set up that those additional 2 days on that last weekend to provide a space and time for them to go through their curriculum development and design to really make sure that they have a strong and cohesive permaculture design course and teaching team going into that next course. So that's the intention behind that. And I'll let Nicole talk about that if there's anything else she wants to add.
Okay. If you are in the area and we've talked, then I would expect that you would want to be on a teaching team, Aaron. And so what the teaching team, the new members to the team, if they've not taught before in a PDC, a mentor or a team of mentors for teaching. You will be able to attend every PDC weekend. Again, of course, this next time it will be at least a year. We don't have it completely, but you'll be able to attend any of those weekends, even if you're not teaching. So you'll be able to attend a whole other PDC, kind of like what Theron was saying for people who want to go down and shadow him in his teaching. We're going to have a lot more hands-on. We're hoping to develop the PDC into a half day of lecture kind of classroom and a half day of practical learning. And you'll also be able to attend all of the meetings. They won't be G+ meetings. We'll probably do more with conference calling. It seems a lot easier than this technology. I might change my mind on that, but probably conference calling. And that's for teacher meetings. There are a lot of perks to being on a teaching team with Permaculture Denton for this next PDC and all future PDCs, of course. So anybody who's going to be on the teaching team for next year, I would like to make that final weekend mandatory.
Mm-hmm. And I completely agree with that. As far as if it is your intention to join the Permaculture Denton teaching team this weekend, it's kind of like it's almost like a retreat weekend. If you've ever done any kind of board work or anything like that, having that time to just break away from all the busyness of all the other work that you do in life, and come together and really hash out what your intentions are and what you want that next year to look like. It's a really powerful opportunity. And if that's something that you're interested in, then definitely be there. And then if that's something that you know, if you're going to be engaged with that teaching team, make sure that you make that intention of being at that, because without that, without full attendance on that, you don't have the cohesion and all of those things going into the actual permaculture design course process. And that's such an important part of teaching these courses, is having a good, cohesive, engaged teaching team to work with. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? All right. Well, you guys have all been great. I'm really looking forward to teaching this course. As I had mentioned at the very beginning of this course, or the very beginning of this call, rather, this is one of my favorite courses to teach because it is so interactive and engaging. It's like I got to use all of the little tricks and tools that I use in my permaculture design courses. I got to use all of them and then talk about why I use them and how they work and all that stuff. And it's a really fun and engaging process. And I also really enjoy the process and the just seeing the development in people moving from that from that student position into that teacher role. That's such a really powerful and exciting process to be a part of. And I really look at it as something as I'm as much a student as I am a teacher in every class that I take, or teach. So it really is powerful to turn that classroom around and give people the opportunity to stand up and be their own teachers as well as students. All right. Any last thoughts or questions? And we can go ahead and wrap up. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody, for being on the call. If you guys want to just unmute your mic and say toodaloo or whatever you want to say, now's a chance to say it.
Well, I was actually wondering if there was anything besides familiarity with the book that you would recommend.
Oh, okay. Aside from familiarity with the Permaculture Design Manual and permaculture in general, really we're going to cover a lot of that in the classroom. But
Okay.
there are some good teacher resources out there. So if you want to kind of get an edge up and just start looking into, there's a book that I really enjoyed, Teaching So People Remember, and I forget who the author of that book is, but that's a really good one. Any other teaching resources that might interest you, feel free to dive in. And who knows, you may find some material and some information that I'm new to, and you can share that as part of the experience that we're going to all take part in as well. So again, this is a dynamic process for me. I never teach this course the same way twice, and it's all based on the interaction and the feedback that we all go throughout the experience. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for joining in and taking part in this. I'll have this recording uploaded hopefully by the end of the day. And specifically for you guys, look for the links in the... So make sure you go to the recording, because I'm going to put the links for the schedule and outline and all that stuff with the video, and then I'm sure Nicole will probably share that around as well to everybody. But yeah, just keep an eye out for that. All right. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If anything else comes up for anybody between now and the training, just shout or put it on the TC group, and we'll get that answered for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much, Day.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.